your idea is to use presidential power, the pardon and the clemency power, to simply look at as many as 17,000 federal prisoners on nonviolent drug charges and say, through presidential power, after screening those cases, these people have served their time, they can go. And this is one of those proposals that Mitch McConnell can't say anything about, whether he's in the Senate or not.
Yeah, and look, there are people unjustly incarcerated in the United States of America. How do I know? Well, number one, we've legalized marijuana all over the place, and we still have people in prison for doing things that two of the last three presidents admitted to doing. We have people sitting in the United States on the crack cocaine, powder cocaine disparity that has now been moved down to 18-1, but that still doesn't reflect the science of the drug, disproportionately affecting black and brown people. We have 87 senators who voted on a bill that I led with Dick Durbin in the United States Senate to get to be the law of the land that said, hey, we need to lower these unjust sentences, lower the mandatory minimums. But we never made that bill retroactive. That means somebody sentenced the day before that bill gets a much longer sentence than somebody sentenced after. Well, if 87 senators agree that that bill, that those sentences are unjust and too long, it should apply retroactively. So we have identified those three buckets: marijuana crimes, crack powder cocaine disparity, and the ones that should have been affected by the First Step Act if it was made retroactive, as about 17,000 Americans who deserve to have their liberty. And I want every presidential candidate to join me on this.
And you're going to, this isn't going to be day one after you take the oath of office, you go back to the Oval Office and you do it. You've proposed some kind of screening commission that will look at every one of these cases, make sure that they are as simple and clear as you think they are. Right. And then pass them.
Yeah, we want to make sure that nobody poses a threat, that people are evaluating what happened to you, all that we're going to make sure. But the most fundamental idea, our founders talked about that, this idea of liberty. And to take someone's liberty in an unjust manner is a cancer on the soul of our country. And to know that you and I sit here and 75% of the people in our jails haven't even been tried yet, are sitting in jail. That's why this idea of money bail in our country is so offensive to me, that there are people that we have a debtor's prisons basically around our country. But for the people as President of the United States, I will use my power of clemency to liberate those who are unjustly incarcerated with no apology, no hesitation. I'm proud of that because that ideal of liberty is so sacred in our country. And that I know, like the crack cocaine, powder cocaine disparity that we made that retroactive in the First Step Act, the 18-1, that 96% of the people that were unjustly incarcerated under that problem were Black and Latino. And so this is a system that is, as Michelle Alexander calls it, the new Jim Crow. It is so savagely disparate against Black and brown people. You and I know this. I went to Stanford. They weren't doing, they weren't doing stop and frisks on the way home from crack. They weren't raiding people's homes to find, whatever, name your drug, Adderall, ecstasy, marijuana. All these things are going on. But we have a nation where everybody's moving to legalize marijuana. Well, the consequences for those of privilege who use it are a lot different than, most people don't know this, in 2017 we had more marijuana possession arrests than all the violent crimes combined. We are still criminalizing certain people for that drug. And so as President of the United States, I want to uphold the ideals of our country, the most sacred of which is the ability to control your own body, to have your own liberty. And this is something I'm going to do. And I'm going to be very blunt with you. This is very transparent. I want everybody in the field to agree with me so that whoever the next president of the United States is, even if it's not me, I want them to be locked in right now to saying, I will do the same thing. Because every day you wait to liberate someone that's unjustly incarcerated, to me, is a violation of the ideals of our country. And so I put it all on the table. Elect me president, I will make sure that I continue the fight like I've done from day one in the Senate to reform a broken criminal justice system that has 1 out of every 3 incarcerated women on the planet Earth is in the United States of America. 1 out of every 4 incarcerated people in the United States of America, a country with only 5% of the globe's population. Overwhelmingly nonviolent, overwhelmingly because of this war on drugs, which has not been a war on drugs. It's been a war on people. Not all people, low-income people, addicted people, mentally ill people, veterans disproportionately incarcerated by the drug war, and God, Black and brown people who now, it's so bad that we have more Black people under criminal supervision in America than all the slaves in 1860. This has got to stop.